Yeah, I know. I mean, like Wu-Tang Clan, man, in my opinion, I think they're the greatest rap group of all time.
You said
They
who?
Wu-Tang Clan, the greatest rap group of all time. Who do you think, Nigel?
Yeah.
Lil B and Soldier Boy? You think that's the best group?
Nah. Me, the first name that comes to mind for me is Outkast.
Outkast is a good group. Yeah, they're a good group too, for sure.
I think it's between Outkast and I would say it's probably between Outkast and Wu Tang. It might be one. They might be just 1A and 1B though.
Like it really could go like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Great. But
All right. Yo. What's up, everybody? This is the Highly Advised Podcast. This is your boy, Lau, a.k.a. Big Cozy, Too Cozy. What's up, guys? How you doing? And let the motherfuckers know who you are. Let these pussy ass... I'm just kidding.
Yo. Why does he not like the listeners, man?
yeah, what's going on, y'all? This is Nigel, having a decent week, waiting for Last of Us 2 to come out tonight. You know, that's my goal.
You said what to come out?
The Last of Us 2. It's this game. I just replayed the first one. It's one of my favorite single player experiences ever. Like that game is a
really?
classic. Yeah, man, that game is really, really good.
I have to check it. I'm not gonna check it out though.
I was like, he's not gonna play that shit.
I was gonna try. You know how you try to wave somebody off, like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna check that out." No,
Yeah.
you lying.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll check it out, but I'm lying. But yeah. Oh, that's what's up though. I mean, it sounds like you know what you're gonna be doing this whole weekend.
Well, nah, I might be making my way down to the beach at some point. I gotta go and see my dad. Honestly, it's Father's Day.
All right, so let me know how you guys did. Man, fuck it. Come on, let's just start talking. Let me not feel like a script. So BT Awards, right? So the BT Awards... BT Awards.
Damn, let me tell them how my week was or some shit at least, man.
Go ahead. How are you doing?
Skipped over me and all that. Say, yo, all right, Najee, you ready? All right, cool, let's go. What about me?
All right, we'll start there. The Spence's week.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I can't complain. It's been a crazy week like any other in this world we living in. And I don't even say we live. I don't even take it day by day. I say we live by episodes now. So, episode whatever this is of life.
14.
Episode 14 of the podcast, but episode whatever of life. It's been an interesting week. Been listening to some different music. Checked out Stove God Cooks. Finally, Reasonable Drought.
Nice.
Banger, slaps. Shout outs to on a Humble for giving me that suggestion because that joint is fire.
Yeah, On the Humble had a decent few picks for album of the year, right?
Oh yeah, he had who was it? I think it was Freddie Gibbs. Who was it? Freddie Gibbs.
Drake.
What's it? Drake?
The Dark Lane demo tapes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dark Lane demo tapes. Shit. Who else was it? I think it was. What was it? I think
Jay-Z.
it was Freddie Gibbs, West Side Gun, Jay-Z and Jay Electronica, Drake and Stove God Cooks.
Word.
Yeah. So, but he got some good taste though. Me and was chopping it up for a minute about just different music. Got some good taste. Like the Stove God Cooks joint is hard. The beats, because Rock Marcy did the beats actually for that. So.
Yes, sir. It's a good project. Yep.
Yeah, I started listening to it while I was working out the other day, and I was just like, "Oh, I fuck with this." Like, it's nice. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah. His style is different too.
His voice kind of reminds me of another rapper that me and Loud know of. His name is Nico Is.
Oh, the Puerto Rican nigga.
Yeah. I don't think he's Puerto Rican. I think he's from somewhere else. But their voices sound similar to me.
Oh, I thought it was Puerto Rican. Maybe he's like, yeah. Let me not say it because I don't want to.
I'm not sure where he's from.
Yeah, I think he's from Hispanic origins. Let me say that much.
Yeah.
I know. Speaking of like, out of just rap in general, I was actually on my way up to this farmers market, and I listened to. I was watching this battle. I think it was through RBE though. It was Geechee Gotti and B Dot versus A Ward and Loso, bro. I've watched tons of battle rap. That may be one of the classic battles I've ever seen before.
I'm gonna have to watch that shit tonight.
It's just different all around because you just got lyrics. You got lyricism on both sides. Geechee Gotti is like the top one of like the top guys in URL right now. So, and then we got I think they just said Mike P. I think Mike P is battling on Gnome that's coming out pretty soon. Gnome 10, I think. I forget who he's battling though. I think it's Mike. I think it's Mike P and Saga. So I've been like just getting deeper into my like rap shit, like my just in my battle bag, because I've been slipping for like the past couple weeks just with everything else going on. So I'll definitely tell people if they get a chance, watch A Ward and Loso versus Geechee Gotti and B Dot. It's a classic battle.
My thing is like with those 2-on-2 battles though, they can feel like kind of gimmicky at times. You know what I mean? So
They
this one's
used
not
to
like
not.
that.
None of them are like that anymore to me. Like the
Okay,
majority of them, like before it used to be like that, but like when it first started, when it was primarily like K Shine and
that's what I'm
DNA,
thinking of.
yeah, like and that's in the beginning of like the 2-on-2s. It was kind of gimmicky then, but like when you look at gun titles, or you look at Hollow the Don and Low Deluxes, I think Hollows. You look at Kayshawn. Well, Kayshawn don't really do them as much anymore. But he did do one with DNA versus Geechee Gotti and Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty and Geechee Gotti are like a great duo together. Rum Nitty, one of my favorites, to be honest with you right now.
Okay.
Rum Nitty, Tay Rock. Tay Rock's always gonna be one of my favorites. I think he's supposed to be on the next Gnome also.
Yeah.
But like
Who's he battling? He's battling somebody relatively soon. Isn't he battling? Who's battling Daylight?
he's battling Daylight.
Boom.
That's who.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
What about Pat Stay? What about Pat Stay?
Nobody cares about Pat Stay. Nobody cares about Pat Stay.
Got
Nobody cares
strong
about
feelings about Pat Stay, man. Pat Stay is nice though. You can't hate on Pat Stay, man.
Pat Stay is, bro. Nobody's gonna be nobody. Trust me, nobody's gonna be watching for. Nobody checks for Pat Stay like that. Like if you tell me Pat Stay's battling, I don't know too many people that's gonna say, "Hey, I got to watch this."
That's fair
Like
enough.
Pat Stay's not that. Pat Stay doesn't have that. Like I'd rather watch Mike P over Pat Stay, personally. And Mike P is kind of like Mike P is kind of like a little different. Like, but I would say Mike P, Chess, Danny
I fuck with
Myers.
Chess.
Chess is my guy. My mans don't like Chess though. He's
What
like,
about Real Deal?
who?
Real Deal from King of the Dot.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
He apparently he's the current King of the Dot battle rap champion.
Yeah.
So that means he must be nice, right?
I mean, but he's not on URL, so
I,
it's not URL or RBE. So
I'm just fucking around. I'm I don't know shit about that.
I was about to say, I'm like, it's not RBE. It's not RBE or URL. URL is like the UFC of battle rap to some extent.
And
Like,
RBE is like the Bellator.
RBE or King of the Dot is somewhere. They're like in that in that space. Like it is where battle rap is a little weird because like people, it's still like the old days of like UFC where you could fight in UFC, but you can go fight in Pride and Strikeforce all interchangeably, right? Like this is like it's kind of the same where Geechee Gotti, he's like a big figure in URL, but he's taking battles that aren't URL, like
See,
non-URL battles.
See, like I always thought of King of the Dot as like the number two, and I never really knew. Everything else was kind of like to the wayside for me because I didn't really know about him like that.
Right. Well, I mean, it got better. It's just it used to be the same way for me. There was a moment in time where it was King of the Dot and URL, and then eventually I think RBE grew. RBE grew over time, and on top of it, it's an American league. Like King of the Dot is an American league, so it's non-American. So it's I don't know. It's kind of it's real tricky. Only battle, I'll be honest though, the only battle that I want to see this year is Loaded Lux versus Sue Surf.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's the battle where, to some extent, it could split the culture because Surf is from like that younger. He's the top dog of the URL generation, while Lux and Mook are like the top dogs of the Smack generation. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's interesting to see what's going to come of that. But for right now, I think when it comes to Daylight and Tay Rock, I can't even put my money on nobody right now because with quarantine, like you don't know what can happen. Like you have people like Charlie Clips talking about he'll battle like two. I think he said he wanted to battle like Geechee Gotti or somebody, and then turn around the next day and battle like Averb.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, like he's saying, or I think he said in 48 hours he wanted to battle Geechee Gotti and Averb, and like just within 48 hours, which is not an easy task. But at the same time, Charlie Clips lyrically is bar none. Like he's at a different echelon when it comes to battle rap. So, but hopefully, I know with like with the pandemic and everything going on, I'm curious to see how this transfers, how battle rap would transfer over because of the BET Awards. Because I don't know if you're familiar, but I think it was last year, it was Geechee Gotti. Like they had like this little tournament or whatever at the BET Awards, and I think the winner was DNA.
Really?
Because I think it was
Yep, it was DNA.
because
He
it was
he
DNA versus Geechee Gotti.
he played off the crowd, and the crowd was like, ooh ah, you know,
What they do?
and ooh ah, ooh ah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Now you can turn that to a beat, nigga. But
Sample that shit.
yeah, but yeah, he won and he played off the crowd a bit. You can watch it on YouTube. It's live and free on YouTube. And guess what?
What's up?
Guess what? You don't need a password. It's free. So I'm not going to talk about that battle no more. But I will talk about the BET Awards.
Jesus, nigga.
Oh my god.
Talk about fucking up a transition,
Okay.
Jesus.
It's like a nigga brick. It's like this man bricked at the layup. Like it's like yo. It's like. It's like I put the two in the air. I put the one in the air. He's like, "Oh, you want us to run an isolation? What?
Yeah,
You
but
want me by the basket?
the laughter made up for the botch though, so it's all good.
Facts. But yeah,
But
like I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but I know the BET Awards though is gonna be it's gonna be. I'm curious to see that part in the BET Awards, but I'm very curious to see like I'll probably watch parts of the BET Awards to be honest, because I think it's all streamed this year.
So, do we have like a list of nominees or anything? I mean, do we really have to go through it? Does it really mean anything to us? Because I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't mean shit to me.
it doesn't mean nothing to me too.
It doesn't mean anything to me, but I try to pay attention to like who it concerns, and like I look at artists like Uzi for instance, right?
Okay.
Like I don't know who's in the top five or who's in like the rappers of the year or whatever, but for some reason Uzi didn't make the cut, and he was actually vocal. I saw on Twitter or something he was vocal about not being in that one of the nominees. So that's the only thing that concerned me. But at the same time, it's kind of a politics game from what I've heard. So
So let me run down a little bit of the nominations. Okay, so we got for album of the year, you got Lizzo with "Cause I Love You," Meg The Stallion "Fever," Beyonce, the Homecoming, the live album, which is I think is a live concert version. Her with "I Used to Know Her," Kirk by the Baby, and Roddy Rich. Please excuse me for being antisocial. So that's a terrible nomination listing.
How would you
Yeah,
change it?
huh?
How would you change it?
Uzi deserves to be in there.
Of course, but
I
I
would
mean,
remove
like,
I would remove Kirk from the Baby, especially since he already dropped.
No,
Especially since he already dropped another album after that. Um,
but does
I
that? But
I would keep Lizzo in there because Lizzo is a big time artist.
when did that
so
album
is the
come out?
baby. The baby is a big artist also though.
Not bigger than Lizzo.
He's hands down. We can't deny that he was probably the biggest male rapper last year.
Yeah,
He's
the
not
Out of
baby
new artists, he was one of the biggest artists last year.
easily.
Right, but he's not bigger than Lizzo.
He was the equivalent to Meg.
Which is not bigger than Lizzo.
Okay,
There
but Meg is
there's
also. So would you take Meg out?
Fever was. I mean, do you think Fever was a good album? I don't.
Personally, me, I'm not a big Meg fan, but what I'm saying is, when we look at albums of the year, right? When you
Right.
look at Meg, would you keep? What I'm asking is, would you keep Meg in based off of everything that's surrounding her, and then if so, why would you not keep the baby in there?
Because maybe I'm being a fair critic, right? Album of the year mean like, hey, this body of work is good, not hey, this artist is the most popping.
But they
I,
had, but at the same time, that plays a part, and that popularity plays a part into what made their music that big, and also their album. Because I think Kirk went like I think Kirk did good performance wise, right?
right, but okay,
Numbers wise.
so I mean, 6ix9ine does numbers, but do you think his body of work is quality? Would you
See,
ever put that? That's what I'm saying. Album of the year should be quality, not like who's the most popping. Because if you're talking about most popping, then why isn't somebody like Billie Eilish or whatever like that being talked about in this? And I understand, right? BT Black Entertainment, so I get that. But I'm saying like album of the year. When I'm here, album of the year, I'm here like okay, what was the best project like musically people are going to be talking about this for the entire year. I heard a lot of people talk about Lizzo, a lot of her music. A lot of people liked a lot of her music. Make the Stallion. I'm not saying that a lot of people didn't like some of her music, but it wasn't like her whole album was fire. It was like one or two songs. You know what I
But
mean?
but see, she has a female fan base, and her female fan base was like they were big on like I think Fever was like the one that came out last year, right?
yeah.
Fever came out last year, and that was like a huge thing. That was like a big deal. Like that, you have to realize like that was like a big deal last year for her.
And fine. I mean, I like Meg and all that, but I just look at this album of the year category, and I'm just besides a couple albums, like I'll give it to Lizzo, I'll give it to Roddy Rich because a lot of people talked about it. You can't deny the Queen, Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
And in her, I hear a lot of people say a lot of good things about her. Yeah, I personally don't listen to her, so I can't really give a real constructive criticism or opinion of it. So I can't I don't have opinion, but I mean I don't have a legitimate opinion about her. But the baby, I listen to Baby, and I don't think Kirk is a fire ass fucking album, and
See,
I never heard anybody really talk about
but
Kirk like
It
you
was the
guys
number
didn't
one
talk.
album though.
that's the thing. But that's the thing, though. Like, that's where the popularity portion comes into this whole like situation. Like, I can't say that like all of those albums are necessarily the best quality, but what I can say is that they were five of the biggest artists last year, probably. So it's like I understand the nominations. Do I necessarily like them? No, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I think Freddie Gibbs is snubbed. But I mean, he would never be in there because he's not anywhere near as popular as any of those five.
Well,
I
no, that's all. That's true. I think it comes into politics also. But when you look at like album of the year, you have to include sales to some extent to even qualify to be album of the year.
I agree with
And
that.
when you look at the baby had a number one album in the country, and I think he sold like I think it was like 145,000 records first week, which is a huge number in today's time.
correct me if I'm wrong. So what you're saying is like, hey, album of the year is not necessarily quality, right? Because like Nigel said, Alfredo is not even on there.
Not Alfredo,
It's more,
Bandana.
or well, that too doesn't matter. It's more or less of album sales what resulted in album of the year is what you're saying, Spence.
Well, I'm saying it's a multitude of things. It is one. It does come down to sales. Of course, there's politics that play a part in it, but sales, popularity, which contributes to sales, and which kind of contributes to like how big of a album something can be. Like if you go number one in the country, you sell 145,000 records first week, right? Your debut, which is a high number in today's time when artists are typically the first week they're debuting at 70,000. That's a huge number. Think when you look back to last year, it'd be hard for me to say the top three artists from this culture last year in terms of like breakout artists is Lizzo, the Baby, and Meg The Stallion. Like it's hard for me to not see something outside of those three artists. And of course Rowdy Rich. I'll give Rowdy Rich also because he had a big hit. He had a big song last year. I think the end of last year or early this year. I think it was the end of last year. To me, when it comes to album of the year, like he deserves the baby deserves to be nominated for album of the year, which is 2019. 2019 artist of the year. He had the possibility of being like one of the artists of the year for last year also. And that'd be hard between him and Meg The Stallion. It'd be either one of them would be artists of the year for last year to me.
Okay, so let me. Do you guys want to hear the best female R&B artist, or no? You don't give a shit.
Go ahead. You can name it off.
All right,
Go
the
ahead.
Queen Beyonce, her, Gina Aiko. Forgive me if I mispronounce the last name. Yep,
Janae
Kalani,
Aiko.
Lizzo, and Summer Walker.
Summer Walker winning that.
What
Yeah,
do you
she
think,
should.
Nigel?
She should win it, but I mean, we'll see. I can
Beyonce
see.
will probably take it.
I can see Janae winning it. Honestly,
Nah, not over Summer.
All right, best male R&B: Anderson .Paak, Chris Brown, Jacquees,
Jacquees.
Khaled, Jacquees, whatever, The Weeknd, and Usher. Wow, talk about Party Next Door being snubbed.
let's be. Well, yeah, he definitely was snubbed, but let's be real. Like Anderson
Yeah.
.Paak should take that home easily.
Hold on. You're saying
Over The Weeknd?
this is
Yeah,
album? This is R&B artist of the year?
Yes.
maybe
Uh,
not like Chris Brown. I mean, didn't Chris Brown put out a decent album last year, or a good
Chris
album
Brown
last year?
didn't Chris put out like the 40 songs last year also?
Some
Yeah.
shit like
Yeah.
that.
He
Yeah.
put a.
So I can understand him winning it, but like Anderson .Paak, I think he did better than everybody else on the list.
Hold on. Nah, I don't know. I might have to put the weekend. I may have to go with the
I
weekend.
was I was gonna say The Weeknd, but
Hold on, but nah. I got to take that back because even the weekend's album didn't come out to this year,
Exactly.
and
so
it
is
wasn't
this
that. It
all
wasn't
based
that
off of
good.
last year? If it's all based off of last year, then I'm choosing Chris Brown.
Let's see.
If it's based,
So
it's weird.
I don't
They
see how,
have like I think they all have like a window for all of this stuff.
but I don't see how the weekend could even be in consideration when like he put out Starboy in what 2016. So it's like what are we going off of? That little like what is it? That little EP he put out or whatever?
Hint. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Wow. But hence what I said about the album of the year selections. Some of it, they're not 100%. You know what I mean? Like kind of quality picks. Because you're right. If this is based off the 2019, The Weeknd shouldn't be on this at all. Because his
Exactly.
album dropped this year. And Jacquees, in my opinion, he shouldn't be on the motherfucking either. All he was doing was remixes.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
if
well,
you
nah, he dropped the no, because Jacquees I think dropped the album last year also, which
Okay.
from my understanding I didn't listen to it, but like he's more like the younger crowd, and even like talking to like some of like the young boys that I know, most of the young people, most people that's like younger than me that I'm
Yeah.
cool with, they that was like a banger to them. Like Jacquees had like he was like their arm like that new R&B artist. So I get why he's there, but I don't know. I may have to just give it to Chris Brown just cuz, but that whole thing is weird when the way they do them because these nominations are kind of weird because they put it in this weird window.
It's like a fiscal year type of deal.
Yeah, like it's a fiscal but it's their fiscal year doesn't even make sense because like the fiscal year if we start with because if we add in the weekend, right? So
Yeah.
that means we're starting in March. We're starting in what, April? It would
Okay.
end in March or April this year, which would make it hard because there's other projects that came out prior to him at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So it's all to me it's all tricky. It's real tricky at the end of the day. But I mean, one thing I will say at the end of the day is it's all about popularity plays a huge part in politics.
I'm gonna just do three more categories and then that's it. I'm
okay.
not gonna. So
Lil Baby's nominated for anything?
he is. So for best group, which is next one after the R&B artist, Chloe and Haley, City Girls, Earth Gang, Griselda, Jack Boys, and Migos. So
Griselda.
right off the top, well, I would like Griselda to win, but I think the City Girls are going to take it because they
Nah,
had a crazy year last year.
I think I understand that, but Griselda, like with the work that they've been putting in and the status that they're at this moment in time, I think they can sweep. I think they can take that from the City Girls.
They're not
Like,
bigger. They're not bigger than the City Girls. I'm a Griselda guy like you. We went to the show together. We politic about it. They're not bigger than the City Girls. At least from last year's stretch going into now.
I don't know, man. I
I
think
have
it's a
to
little
agree.
arguable, man.
How?
Go ahead, Spence.
Nah, go ahead. He asked you a question.
No.
You gotta
How?
talk to that man.
How is it? How is it? Well, I'm gonna talk to. I'm gonna give him this work.
This how you talk to your son, man.
Right.
But the City Girls, they had like literally they had the biggest one of the biggest songs last year, and
Okay.
then they're riding off of that hype. And prior to them having the biggest song, they were catching fire, right?
Right.
Griselda, even though we're prime listeners of them, so we could list off songs right off the bat. But can we really honestly say they had a record that's bigger than anything that the City Girls did last year?
I'm not saying
And
I'm not
the
I'm
City
not
Girls,
I'm
they
not
had
saying that.
not
That's not what I'm getting at. But at the same point in time, like even though like they did have two or three big records, I just think that at this point in time, like right now, Griselda is building up the resume to where it's like they're a little bit well known as far as the music landscape at the moment right now. That's what I would say.
right.
They're
I,
not winning it though.
they're not winning it. They're not going to win it, man. It's good. I'm telling you right now. Honestly, I think it's going to be between the City Girls, Chloe and Haley, because they have that big the market over there for R&B music, or the Migos, just to strength off the Migos name.
Right.
But I really think it's going to be the City Girls. But I would love for Griselda to win, and I hope Griselda. I hope the City Girls. I hope I'm wrong about that prediction, but I just think they're going to win, man. Just because they're a lot more popular, a lot more people are still fucking with the City Girls right now.
All right. Spence, what were you about to say though? You were about to say something in the midst of all of it.
I lost my train of thought. Well, I forget what I was going to say, but I do know politics plays a part. So
Yep.
that's just the reality of it all. Like, though Grizel, a lot you see that far too often, where like the new artists, quote unquote, they hold a lot of steam. Like the up and coming artists, they hold a lot of steam, but then it just doesn't work out for them. It's just the penalty. It's the perils of the game at the end of the day. I would love to see Griselda win, just like any of us here, but it's not going to happen. I'd be surprised if Griselda actually wins, which is it's weird anyway because I don't even know. I don't even know how Griselda. I don't know. I'm confused when it comes to groups and putting Griselda as a group,
Yeah, they
just
shouldn't be.
because Griselda is the label. It's just the at the end of the day, like to some extent. Granted, they put out a project together, which is an amazing project.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know. I think no, they can't. They're not winning it. There's no way they can win it because we're basing it off of the project, off the Griselda project. We're not basing it off of all the projects that Griselda artists put out throughout the year. Benny Conway and West Side Gun. We're not considering those three individual albums,
If we're
all their
basing it,
individual projects.
if we're basing it off of that one project, then yeah, you're right. There's no way that they can win. That's just the bottom line of it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I agree with y'all.
I think they should win, right? Because when you list the whole thing of that, besides Chloe and Haley, right? Because they're not rappers at all, but the rest of them, Griselda kills them. All right, so next thing is best male hip hop artist: The Baby, Drake, Future, Lil Baby, Roddy Rich, or Travis Scott.
Damn, that's hard.
I think Lil Baby should get it.
Best male artist. I may go with Rowdy Rich, just because he had such a big year last year.
Yeah, I can see that. Roddy Rich probably take that.
That's
Right?
that's that's
Yeah,
fair.
I see that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I have nothing against that. That's fair. Best female hip hop artist: B, Doja Cat, Lizzo, Meg The Stallion, Nicki, or Sweetie or Sweetie, however you say it.
I'm going with. I have to go with Meg The Stallion because
Same here.
Meg The Stallion had too big of a year last year. She's
Yeah.
literally the next big female artist right now. So
Yeah, I'm surprised they even fucking nominated Cardi B. Cardi B didn't drop no fucking music since last time she dropped a song. I was in the desert.
I mean, it's her name, honestly. Like that's kind of what it is.
but she was
Why was Yolanda Adams nominated for Best Gospel Act like 10 years in a row? You know what I mean? I don't think she dropped an album all those 10 years. You know what I mean?
yeah, but at the same time I think with Cardi though, she was on like those songs. She was on some songs last year that were kind of big songs, I think. So
Oh, well, I mean Tatiana, I think, right? But can we put?
Tatiana, the twerk song with City Girls. She was on the song with City Girls last year. That was a big record. That though it's the City Girls, which is really it was only Young Miami. You can't lie, Cardi B had a star power that attributed to all of that.
You're
Fair
right.
enough.
You're
I
fair
respect
enough.
that.
All right, and
Yeah.
that's it because I'm not. Oh, unless you guys want to do best new artist, and then just
Yeah,
Be
let's just
done.
do that and get out. Slide
Okay.
out of this.
All right. Best new artist. Final category: Danny Leah, Lil Nas X, Pop Smoke, Roddy Rich, Summer Walker, or YBN Corday. Easily Roddy Rich.
Yeah, you should take it. I would
Run,
like to see
hold on,
Pop
run
Smoke
that
take it
again.
though.
Danny Leah, Lil Nas X, Pop Smoke, Roddy Rich, Summer Walker, or YBN Corday.
Oh, that's hard. I would love to say Roddy Rich, but I'm gonna go with Lil Nas X.
That's not a bad choice either because I was thinking like Lil Nas X might take it. I think he won a Grammy too, didn't he?
I believe so. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did win a Grammy. I think he won a Grammy with for the remix to
yeah,
that song. I think.
with Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, like some of that stuff, it makes no sense to me because you really basing it off of like a 2008. Well, he did drop music last year, which wasn't good, but I mean, Panini wasn't a good. Well, to me, it wasn't a good song personally. So, but speaking of like little baby though, like, did you hear? You know, he dropped something earlier this week, right?
Yeah, man, really good
Yes,
song.
Yeah.
yes.
What's your thoughts on that? Because that thing is crazy to me.
Lil Baby. So we were just talking about best rap artist, right? I think 2020 Lil Baby is hands down the de facto number one rapper of the year. I He came out with a killer album in My Turn. The deluxe turned him up even further, and then he just dropped a single talking about the social injustices that's going on right now. You know what I mean? And I I mean he isn't the only one, right? Meek dropped one, Conway dropped one too,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
on the topic of Lil Baby, he's on a roll. I think Lil Baby right now is the star of QC. I think he took the torch from the Migos in a respectful way, right? Because they're all family over there. And Lil Baby, he's the guy right now. I don't know of any other rapper that has an upward trajectory like Lil Baby right now. You know
I
what I mean?
think
Even the ultimate troll of trolls right now said that Lil Baby's his favorite rapper.
I think Lil Baby's gonna be here to stay for a little bit. I think he's putting out some quality music. He got a good style. He's like pretty fresh in his career. I think he's gonna be here to stay. I think he's doing like a lot of the right things and actually putting out some shit that you can vibe to and also some shit that means something at the same time.
Yep.
Which seems to be that balance that a lot of artists aren't hitting right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Newer
think
artists.
yeah, a lot of newer. I think now because of the social climate, I think we're gonna start gearing our artists are gonna start gearing themselves more to being more consciously aware, just because of multiple reasons outside of just well, one the fans and reflecting. A lot of times, with rap music itself is a reflection of the times. At the end of the day, whether it be we going out and having fun, or even if it's the drug culture, the using culture, the selling culture, the ice culture, the fucking your chick culture, whatever it can be, like all those cultures that these artists are surrounded by. But I think because of the social climate, all of that stuff stopped. Like
Yep.
all of that, like you don't. A lot of those chicks you see on Instagram every week, they've disappeared for the most part because it's not really the time for that. You got a lot of rappers trying to make money now through OnlyFans because times is hard. So I think well the artists that to me personally I haven't heard anything that's like socially aware or conscious type of music. So with listening to Lil Baby, I mean I prior to this song I thought Lil Baby was here to stay already, just because of like the music that he's putting out, and then when you just put your finger on the pulse, when you check the pulse, you check the temperature in the room. When he comes on, it's a different vibe. It's the energy is different. The energy is different. You could tell by the type of just the interviews that he's done over like the past couple of years. You could tell like, oh, he not a dummy to say the least. He's not a. I'm not going to judge his intellect and nothing like that, but he's not a dummy at the end of
No.
the day in terms of like how he puts out music and the way he puts out music. And for a guy that when you really listen to his music, you could tell he doesn't write anything down. Just having all those levels of life experience, and then reflecting on the music and thinking of all those things, all those emotions that come along with it, whether it was someone he knew or it could have been him. Like,
What he say? He was just like, I got to tell my family to keep a gun on them when they walk outside or something like that.
yeah, that shit is crazy.
Yeah,
That
man.
shit,
He's the guy right now, man. He's the guy. And I'm telling you right now, man, he's setting a bar for like the current generation rappers. Kind of like, look, yeah, we could be on the turn up shit and listen and rap over trap beats or whatever, but we could also talk about shit too. And I'm telling you, man, the little pump smoke perks, them niggas are dying out, bro. They
The
dying
little
out.
the little B influences, the little
Yeah,
B kids.
yeah.
Like
Well, I mean, like when we're talking about rap, when we're talking about rappers talking about anything, did y'all hear J. Cole and his response to No Name this week?
Yes, sir.
yeah, talking like when it comes to talking about stuff like that, yeah. I was on Twitter when that song dropped. I don't see I'll be the first to say it. I don't know what y'all tripping over on Twitter, honestly.
Tell him,
Like, nah, for real, cause
tell him.
like when you listen to the song, right? For some reason, well, people that are listening, right? So J. Cole drops a song where, well, let me give you a backstory. So, an artist named a rapper, artist. I'm gonna just call it artist. An artist named No Name that's based out of Chicago. She has a very popular fan base, and I think we spoke on it a couple weeks ago, where she had came out questioning whether or not artists like our favorite artists, J. Cole, the Coles and Kendricks, why are they silent during this whole situation? Which she believed to mean they were complicit with everything that's happening right now. Because the words, if you're silent, then that means you approve of it, right? You're complicit. So, oh, of course, over the week she started seeing where like not because of her, I believe, but just the status quo of these artists, Kendrick and Cole, for example, they're out in the marches, they're out in the trenches with the people, right? So Cole this week he drops a song called "Snow on the Bluff." He drops "Snow on the Bluff," and man, I tell you, he he pretty much capsulates everything. He capsulates what's going on, but he also capsulates this whole situation with No Name and how she and he says like he doesn't come out directly and say it on the song, but he says there's a girl on Twitter. Pretty much she's upset with capitalism. She's tired of even us with our ignorance and all of this. And he tells her in the song she should watch her tone and tell us and like she should watch her tone and instead of being like all being so uptight about everything, you should why don't you teach me instead? Like because I think he says in the song somewhere about like, oh, instead of knocking us, we're the same ones that need your help at the end of the day. So instead of like bashing me and all of that, like why don't you teach me? Why don't you teach me? And a lot of people on Twitter had the nerve, a lot of women that I know at least, and there's dudes in there caping for it also saying, oh, these men are the weakest links. We're the weakest links because we're asking to be taught. So, and did you have something to say, Nigel?
I'm waiting for you to be done. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Nah, because
oh,
I got a little opinion. Go ahead.
yeah. Like, so they're saying we should be the weakest links, right? So next thing you know, it just creates this huge issue on Twitter where now the and I hate to be jumping ahead, but now people are saying they need to cancel Kendrick and J. Cole, though Kendrick has nothing to do with this. And now apparently the rumor is Kendrick Lamar is not even going to drop an album because fans don't want to hear his music. Um, Cole, like they want to cancel him because now it's he doesn't want to learn. Instead of going to read about it himself, he doesn't want to learn. He just wants to listen. He wants someone to teach him. When the reality is, in the song, he pretty much says she's read all the books. She had some of her thinking is groomed by her upbringing, which she was fortunate to have, possibly from his assumption from listening to her. So because of these things, can't why don't you teach me? Why don't you lead me in the right direction? And I think a lot of people on Twitter, like they always do, they have this thing of groupthink where they say, "Oh, well, I don't like that. So since I don't like that, I don't like that, and now we don't like that at all." And it's like, come on, fam. Like, let's be real here. Like, people are. Some people are sheep. I personally believe, and they just kind of follow just a one ideology, which I just disagree with. Like, the song was great. I understood the message. Some people didn't even press play and just got uptight, to say the least.
They're treating him like they're treating LeBron, man. It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
That one hurts. And I know Nigel is gonna get into his piece, but let me just say this, man. Chance the Rapper, man. I didn't agree with that. That was some sucker shit. You
That
know.
shit's corny as hell.
Hold
Chance the
on. What
Rapper's
did
corny
Chance the
as hell
Rapper?
for that.
What did he
Go
do?
ahead.
Go ahead, Nigel, because
No,
I believe that was your
Nah,
piece.
no, that wasn't what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
nah.
No,
What? I'm confused. What did Chance the Rapper do?
no,
I'm saying here lost.
he just came out and tweeted defending No Name, and he was like, basically, he was like slamming J Cole. Was like, hey, how are you gonna come at No Name when basically he was agreeing with No Name's point, and I just think that's not fair. And then he
It
was kind of
is.
he was criticizing J Cole for not coming at No Name privately, but I'm like, well, No Name came at him publicly, so I'm like, well, what's the difference?
See, that's where my situation comes in. It's like, all right, like these and J. Cole and Kendrick have been like vocal in the black community, okay? Like through their music in the past. So like, you call them out for not saying anything at the time. And then he responds to you and says, hey, like, I don't really like what you said, but if you are gonna say something, why don't you reach out to us and try to teach us? And then when he actually responds to that, you respond and saying, "Oh, why are you going to respond to me at a time like this when people are being hung and people are dying?" It's like, okay, but you took out your time to talk about those artists. So what did you expect him to do? Yeah, he could have did it privately, but you called him out on Twitter. He put out a song. So your response is saying he's bad. He shouldn't have put out a song, and I'm going to put out a song saying that he's bad for doing that. Kind of doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? So it's like,
It.
who really started this?
It's she did, and it's hypocritical. That's how I see
Exactly.
it.
I mean, see. I'll put it like this. Like, in the terms of with the Chance the Rapper thing, I'm not mad at Chance because him and No Name are actually friends. Like, I think they're all from Chicago. I found out about No Name through Chance the Rapper because they used to do like open mics together and shit.
That
So,
makes sense.
yeah.
But
So I understand him taking up for his friend, right? So I understand that. So I'm not even going. I'm not a big Chance fan, but I'm not going to knock him for that, right?
Fair
You
enough.
want
I
to
didn't
stand
I
by?
didn't know they were friends. I thought he was
me
just
neither.
doing
I
some
didn't know
bullshit
that
on Twitter.
neither.
Yeah, not like all from Chicago. Like they all kind of were around. They're all from like the same area, I think, or they're real tied in. They're tied in pretty good with each other. But so I understand that. But my thing is, it it does become a little. It becomes a little different at this moment. It becomes a little shaky. I will say that because when No Name said what she said, I think at that moment it was just like, hey, okay, I understand what's going on right now, but in the same regard, it's also saying like, hey, you said what you said, so I'm responding to what you're saying by letting you understand like, hey, and who knows, he probably could have got No Name's number, just like No Name would probably have a hard time getting J. Cole's number. But in the same breath, like I understand her saying something out in public. So essentially, J. Cole got to respond to it. But his response is just like, "Hey," and he even shouts her out after all of that. He puts out a series of tweets shouting her out and telling people you should follow her because she's doing tremendous work and she's a great artist. So, which was confusing to me because after saying all of that, after I'm not confused by what he said in the song, but I'm confused at the level of the monstrosity, the level of thinking and monstrosity that people have in the terms of group think when it came to trying to crucify this man. And I understand why she responded because it's it's a moment in time where okay, this is what you said, so let me say my piece to you. But the downside to this is like the only thing I don't like about her song is pretty much it sounds like she just gathered a lot of her thoughts from she took the general consensus of Twitter and just kind of ran with that based off everything that she's saying. But which is kind of crazy because if you listen to the J. Cole song, he clearly tells you like, yo, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I should be doing more at the end of the day. Like that's the reality of it all. He says I need to do more, so he should be doing. So he's literally pretty much reaching his arm out, an olive branch, if you want to say, and say, "Yo, I need to do more. Can you help me?"
Should he do
And
more though? Like, should he do more? Like, honest,
if that's how he feels, then
right?
yes.
If he
Okay.
truly, if he truly genuinely feels like that, right? Who are we to say, you shouldn't do more? Which is 100% agree with that. But like, if he doesn't feel like that, it's like, okay, should he do more because of you know, no name is coming out and in my opinion, falsely accusing him of not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I that's not fair.
That's
That's
my
not
It,
that's
that
not
it
fair at
is.
all.
that's
No,
my only
It's
that's
fair for him to say he can do more
no.
because at the end of the day, when he's saying he needs to do more, what he's saying, granted I'm not trying to defend No Name in terms of saying like he needs to be doing more in terms of being in the public eye, because I think Dave Chappelle covered why you shouldn't be looking to celebrities, but why you look to celebrities for them to be outspoken in these moments. But I think in his sense, he does need to do more. J. Cole does need to do more. Anytime you go on, if you go on a track and pretty much say like, "Yo, I don't really read anything. I just kind of," and he's a very knowledgeable person from what it looks like and from what it seems like based off the content of his music. If it's like, "Hey, I don't read enough to, I'm not reading enough to really give my opinion," or I'm not, and definitely based off what we look at J. Cole to represent in his music over the years, based off his catalog, yeah, he needs to do more. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like at the end of the day, that's how I feel. Like he has the right. For him to vocally say he needs to do more, I have to agree with what he has to say. Like I'm not going to refute someone that says, "Yo, I'm not doing enough."
Here's my thing though. Like I don't have a problem with him feeling like he has to do more. My issue is why are we trying to make those celebrities like specifically like people who have already put out music like or spoke on social issues? Why are we putting so much pressure on them to say like, hey, now you have to say something right now, especially when we see them actually out there protesting and whatnot? Like, do they have to go on their Twitter and actually say something? Like, no.
It's so amazing how you have great people like J. Cole and LeBron James who've been doing shit before this unfortunate scenario that we're going through right now. But all of a sudden, people like them are like prime targets of this cancel culture shit, right?
Right.
There's a bunch of fucking rappers that went out to fucking march, but prior to this shit, they were not doing anything close to what J. Cole or Kendrick were fucking doing. But nobody's getting on them or nothing like that. And I'm not saying that they should get on them, but I'm just saying like I hate how people do this whole what have you done for me lately shit. And that shit is so fucking sickening, man, because it's kind of like, and I'm not saying that No Name is doing that. I'm talking about all the people with the cancel culture is doing that,
Right.
and it's so ridiculous. It's like you want to forget shit. Like, no, that's, to me, it's not fair for J. Cole to get that type of criticism from fucking Twitter or Instagram. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. If J. Cole believes, like me personally, I need to do more power to J. Cole. That man has his own journey, and I hope he fulfills it. But Twitter is not the deciding factor for that guy because he probably did a lot more than the people that's trying to fucking cancel him. And I just hate it, man. I'm gonna stop because I know I'm gonna go on a fucking rant about that shit.
I mean, I agree with you in the terms of I'm not a fan whatsoever of cancel culture, but I'll put it like this. I'm not a fan of cancel culture. I think cancel culture is the dumbest thing because let's be real. Like I tweeted this. The same people that are crucifying J. Cole right now were the same people crucifying No Name when they felt like she needed to learn more before she said anything else, before she opened her mouth, right? So, or even the same people that were killing her because they were crucifying her because of her statements on J. Cole and Kendrick about a few weeks ago. Now are the same people bashing J. Cole. But my thing is though, when I understand why I personally wouldn't look for J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar to be like the measuring stick of what I need to hear, right? Because the true leaders are not on Twitter the whole day. Like,
Right.
granted, you have some of those social justice warriors that might be in the streets. I don't know what Sean King's doing in the streets, but I'm sure he's doing something. But I can see how someone could look at it like, hey, well, this is like the thing where you sitting here talking to your friends like, man, if the bully come in here, if he come in here and he try me, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. This is how you stand up against the bully. This is what we need to do to stand up against the bully. And then the bully comes in the room and smacks you, or smacks your friend or someone in your friend in your group. I think most people, or smack somebody in the room, right? I think at that moment, people are looking like, okay, well, you've said all of this. You've given us a lot of your teachings, a lot of your thoughts on things, but now we want to see, I guess, and this is my assumption, people want to see more of action put in behind the words because let's be real. If you talked about social issues and how to help rise our people over the course of the past 10 years, which I 100% agree they have, that Kendrick Lamar especially has
Exactly.
giving you the gems throughout his whole career, whether it's social issues, and some of the same people that are bashing him were the same people saying, "Oh, I can't dance to this. I don't want to listen to this." Like, like the same people that are killing him now were the same people killing them for the type of music they were making because you couldn't play it in the club or it didn't bang in the whip. But I also understand, hey, you've said all of this over the years, and now this is the moment. This is the moment at the end of the day. When we look back in history, this is the moment where I think your where people are looking for, I guess, your quote unquote your Harry Belafontes, I'm assuming. But I think at the same time, people have to understand we all fight the fight a different way. Because the reality is, just like Lau asked me last week about like the whole NBA thing, right? Where you said, "Oh well, would you quit your job right now, or would you leave your job to go march in the streets?" And I'm like, and we all kind of came to a conclusion like it's different based off I contribute in my own way. If I'm not marching, I'm contributing in my own way best possible, right? And vice versa for all of us.
Well,
At the
here's
end of
here's my thing, right? Like, instead of trying to call out people for what they're not doing, like, just focus your efforts on what you're doing
exactly.
and, like, just keep on doing it. Maybe after, if you're not trying to draw attention away from what's going on, then don't draw attention away from what's going on because that's exactly what that did. And instead, it put it on the people who aren't doing anything. Like, the thing is that she's doing great work. Kendrick and J. Cole have done great work. I'm not looking to know what they're doing right now because I'm trying to focus on what I can do. Focus on what we can get canceled. I'm not trying to go to the store and buy Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben anymore.
Facts.
That's just is
Like,
what
I
it
was about
is.
to say the same thing. You worried about J. Cole when there's races or when there's brands out here that we've been buying for years that are built on the foundation of racism.
Fuck Taco Bell. Fuck Taco Bell. I ain't fucking with no dog food shit no more. Fuck Taco Bell.
God damn.
What they do.
You know, they did the nut shit just like Starbucks. We're gonna send your ass home because you're wearing Black Lives Matter shit.
Oh, really? Nah,
Yeah,
no, we're not doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you saw
yeah.
the video, right? Like Bull was Bull literally was arguing with someone saying like, "Yo, you can't fire me pretty much because I'm wearing a face mask. You can't wear that face mask here. Why can't I? You can't wear that face mask here. What? Like because it says black because they deem it as a political view. But that's only I'm not even
Cancel
gonna get
that.
I'm not even
Cancel
gonna get
that.
into
What
it.
has Taco Bell did for the black neighborhood? Not a
I'm
goddamn thing.
I'm
But
really
just be useful for the munchies.
I'm
Fuck
really
Taco
hoping
Bell.
that in I'm I'm,
He
I'm
really
really
doesn't like
hoping
Taco Bell.
I'm really hoping in the future that like we do see some type of change of this and we get to see who wasn't on the right side of history because I can't wait to look back and see the people who weren't trying to support all the shit going on. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna it's gonna be interesting to see. Like I think even in our own personal lives, I think we're starting to see. I think the veil is starting to become like unhinged. Well, the door is becoming unhinged in the terms of like the people that we're surrounded by in our own lives.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of crazy just kind of recognizing the stance where it's like, oh, you sometimes we don't even have to stand on the we don't have to wait to see the other side of history. We're seeing it now. Like even like with the Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben thing, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I've always thought this, and I feel like I've had jokes with some friends about this, like the Aunt Jemima thing. Like a lot of stuff now, you be thoroughly surprised. Like there's a lot of stuff that I think that I've seen over the years that I think is going to start coming to the light now. Like there's some stuff that I never knew about in terms of like, was it you that sent me that? It was one of y'all that sent me that about like them. They used to throw like, uh, they used to try to throw like baseballs at a baby, at black babies or something like that to make them throw up or some shit like that. Like a
Hit
America's
the
history.
hit the N word, baby.
Yeah, yeah. America has a lot. I think America has. There's a lot of history within this country that is being unveiled day after day, episode by episode, episode by episode, and is we just need to really focus our energy into these things because as you can tell, like the Aunt Jemima thing, I think it kind of exploded from a girl doing a TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, like that was when you saw Twitter actually working for the right reason. Like, okay, hey, this is a we're not going. I'm not saying the company's racist, but I'm gonna say
Product.
the product is built on the foundation of racism, and it's like 131 years. Aunt Jemima's 131 years old, and now they're getting a facelift because of the issues right now. Them, Uncle Ben, I think even the cream of wheat guy, like
The creepy ass criminal guy. Like, get him the
yeah,
fuck out of here with his weird ass hat. No, I'm
yeah.
not worried about that
I'm
shit.
surprised. Yeah, just wait till they pull up like, man, the world's gonna be crazy if they start pulling up some of these old cartoons that
Oh
we all grew
God.
up. The old cartoons that we grew up on. There's some old cartoons that we grew up on when I got older and I looked back and I said, fam, that I know what that is, and that's not right.
Yeah.
There's some cartoons that, and I'm not going to say any names. I'll leave that for people to figure out and go look up. There's a lot of racism that is at the foundation, at the helm of a lot of things that we grew up and enjoyed. And like I said, we just gotta take it episode by episode because this shit is. I like I said, shit just getting crazy, man. Like I told y'all yesterday, like you don't even know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like tomorrow, we really don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like I'm waiting for people to bring up Abraham Lincoln was black again.
Oh man. I mean, we already have Beethoven being black, so
Yeah,
it's only going to get crazier from here. I know that
yeah,
things are kind of crazy in Atlanta with the protests, as far as Rashard Brooks goes.
yeah. Like the protests right now, they got crazy. They've got well, not crazy, but the protests have gotten a little wild. I watched the video where a woman was talking about around 8:20 because she had been out in the protest for like the past week. Around 8:20, she would notice that there was always someone throwing a water bottle between 8:20 and 8:30
Really?
at the police. And yeah, and I'll find it on my Twitter and I'll send it to you. I don't have the tweet that the woman sent, but I have this tweet though. So she was saying how like that is between 8:20 and 8:30 someone's throwing a water bottle, which pretty much incites the police to be very rough on them. And come to find out, there was actually someone that was protesting that saw the video and had put down like, "Hey, it's 8:23 right now." Like she showed a timestamp to prove that it was 8:23 at night. And for some reason, people started throwing water bottles, just like she had heard on Instagram, like just like she had seen on Twitter. And the cops pretty much began using just a lot of force to get people in. And apparently, a lot of people believe it's due to like the curfew. So they find their reasonings. I guess I'm not sure, but it looks like it has something to do with the curfew. I did see a video of a guy sitting in his house, like recording all of this stuff, like all the violence that's happening. Where like it was like 6 or 7 I don't know if they were officers or whatever they were, but they were in the gear to facilitate the protesters. And you see like 5 or 6 of them just beating up on one person, and the guy's in his house recording it. And all of a sudden, there's a rubber bullet that hits his window,
Wow.
Like, yeah, they shot at him, so he would stop recording.
It's getting crazy. Like I wonder when we're gonna see like the actual result of all this, because clearly there is a problem with that system, and I'm wondering just how it's gonna be handled. Because if things keep on going like this, I don't see it getting any better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's uh it's I don't know how long it's gonna take, man. I to be honest with you, and I've said this to a couple friends. Like I think this is about to be. I'm not gonna say this in particular, but I think this next decade, because like I've always said, I always believe the last decade we were going through like the '70s to some extent, right?
Right.
Where we became more Afrocentric, loving who we are, our skin, we kind of started denouncing people that would say bad things about like people being dark skinned, because I've heard all of them before growing up. So like you going from feeling self conscious about being dark skinned to actually being proud of your skin complexion and the type of hair that you have, to now I think the last decade was to build the knowledge that was necessary. Now it's time to actually put forth the effort to make change in this country, and it's not easy, and it's I think it's scary for some parties that are involved on both sides. It's just like I don't know, it's kind of getting crazy. But just like you seen just like we saw, I don't know if y'all saw, but like hangings, lynchings started coming back.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Like
time.
a few people got hung, and I saw that one of the people got hung, and apparently then his brother was quote unquote involved in a shootout, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah, he
died.
was killed. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, there could be more, but I think there's been four right now that's been reported. They're all deemed as suicides. The shootout that happened, apparently he kidnapped a woman, and then him and the police had the shootout, and
Jeez.
it's just getting crazy, man. Because it's like way back in the day, before our grandparents was alive, they were hanging black people.
Well, they starting to, like, I know out here, and like even in Dover, there people are trying to dig up like old cases from like the past 10 years, because there's been, like, I don't know if you know, like I think they said there was like 5 lynchings in the past 10 years just in Dover alone.
Really?
Yeah.
There's KKK here in our state.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh, trust me.
some people
I
don't know that though.
it everything is just kind of crazy. Living in such a different world that, had you talked to me 6 months ago, had you told me any of this would have happened 4 months ago, if you told me in February everything that we're going through right now would just happen, I would have said you're lying. I forgot all about the UFOs. I forgot all about the murder hornets. I forgot all about COVID-19. I've forgotten about everything, all the other things that have been going on in the world since this social issue. And the social issue, and just hell, we got, at the end of the year we got our election to come up on. So
Yeah. It's still
everybody
happening out
vote,
here. Vote for your local people, y'all.
please
Yes,
do.
yes, that's very important.
Last but not least, y'all want to talk about
Oh,
Jorge Mas.
before we get to Jorge Masvidal, right? Speaking on the ATL protests and everything like that, even like, and though we were talking about like the grimness of the hangings and lynchings, I did want to let people know that the cop that killed Rashad Brooks, he's actually right now he's being charged with, they, I think it was yesterday, they came out and said he's being charged with felony murder. So I
Both him
it,
and his partner, they both turned themselves in today.
That's good. So that's the first step. This isn't the end of it. That's the first step. I just want to let people, so we don't end that whole thing on a bad note. At least we can see that we're still making the first steps. I wish things would happen a little bit quicker, but
Well,
it's,
it was a lot quicker than George Floyd's situation.
yeah, it
It was
was.
a lot, and the Rashard Brooks thing, it's that one is causing a debate online due to the scenario on how it went down.
Right.
But
Right.
that happened a lot faster than George Floyd's situation. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we all know that they, definitely should go through due process. Like, there's no way that they should just be walking around with their badges still and just kind of chilling out in the streets. Like, that's,
Right,
Well,
right.
unacceptable.
they had gotten fired. I know they had gotten fired right after it happened.
Yeah, the one guy got fired. The other one was placed on administrative leave. He should have been fired too, but right.
Yeah, so it is what it is, but all I can say is I'm fortunate that we're moving in the right direction. And just remember, like we said, when you step into the ballot to make your vote, just understand, even on the local, not just the primary, but on the local level, you're able to implement change, and the people that are who are able to hold the weight or the decisions for the laws that happen in your city and state, like those people hold a lot more weight in your day-to-day life than probably the primary election does, because it's more of a trickle down in some instances
Right. Like,
versus go ahead.
my bad. Go ahead. I thought you was finished up.
Well, no, I was just gonna say versus like, is it more of a trickle down effect versus like in terms of change versus like people on your local level? So
For example, a great example, you know, the the states being shut down and all that shit. That doesn't come from the president. It comes from the governors, and it comes from the governor's staff. You know what I mean? It comes from the
exactly,
mayors. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to vote in your local elections as well, because they have power too.
exactly. They can actually choose on. Remember, your state is the one that funds the police. They're the ones that fund the police. They're the ones that fund the schooling. Like
Yeah.
they play a much they play a big role in a lot of the issues that we're dealing with today in terms of certain levels of decision making and law making and
Right.
what they feel is just due in the
Right.
long term. So
Also, if you like smoking weed, fun fact, that's not going to go up to a very high level. That a lot of those laws are at a federal level, meaning in your state. That's why every state has
Well,
different laws when it concerns weed.
you mean you mean state level?
Thank you. I'll end up editing that out.
Yeah.
yeah, so it goes at your state level. So yeah, like yeah, you're right, because it literally goes state by state, and hopefully they make that legal. I saw a video recently of a guy talking about like smoking. It was a judge. He said he put it over like three. He was a judge for like 30 years. So he put over 300 people, over 300 black men in jail for weed, right, throughout his career. And it wasn't until he got COPD. I don't know what year this was. I'm assuming this had to be in the. I believe this was actually earlier this year, I believe, but I'm not quite sure. But it was sometime recent. He he actually was in Florida. He lives in Florida. He was at like I guess like a town hall or committee meeting, and he told them he wants them to pass the law for marijuana because COPD was a terminal disease for him, and because of marijuana, he's been able to live for 2 extra years. So he's now an advocate for it. So just remember, like those things are not things. Those are things that you have those conversations at a local level. So and plus, on top of it, like if I don't know how it affects your job, but if you get busted, if you test positive, and as long as it's not as high as Nick Diaz, you should be good. Like
Wow.
It's you know what's funny about that? Even people from the UFC were saying like Nick Diaz should have never been in trouble for smoking weed, but due to the athletic commission of that particular state, if it's banned there, he by the law he has to face consequences. I don't know.
it's crazy. That's crazy.
Do y'all,
I I get that, but that's just crazy at the end of the day. Like,
do y'all
as
think? Well, go
long
ahead.
as he not doing, I was just gonna say like, as long as he not doing like coke, as long as he not like 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 Johnny B. Like, as long as he's not like Johnny B, he's good. Don't do cocaine before fighting. You straight, but
Do you think?
don't do cocaine.
Do you think Jorge Masvidal is gonna see any type of punishment for all the stuff he's saying about UFC on Twitter?
He's not gonna get no $2 million paycheck no more.
Hell no.
Nah, he might end up messing his whole self up instead of just doing it the right way.
So I was listening to Ariel Hawani in DC
Yep,
yesterday.
seen it too.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and Ariel basically confirmed, hey, Masvidal got got what he wanted. But he still turned down the fight because his reasoning was the damage was already done. He fucked himself.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. If you get what you want, especially when they're playing. He said they were trying to strong arm him, so he got what he want when they were trying to strong arm him, and he still said no. That offer's never coming back.
Why would you even do that to yourself? That's just stupid.
That's
That's
stupid.
and I say that with all due respect. Like that's just a dumb move because the one thing I always learn is when someone tells you yes to what you asked for, you don't say nothing else. I, you shut up. Listen, I've seen people actually hang up the phone. As soon as I get a yes, all right, thanks. You say yes, cool. No, click. He said yes. Mom said yes. We can go outside. I think she was going. Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear nothing about no chores. I heard yes. That's how it is. Like you're not supposed to do that to yourself. And now he's probably his. It's gonna be interesting to see where his career goes because Dana is Dana, and Dana has the power to make a good fight. He'll make a good fight, but he'll also make sure he sets him up for a bad fight. He'll try to set him up in the long run. You never know. Like
I
it's
I think it now they're going to be like, okay, Jorge, you have to fight somebody like Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards is on a fight win streak, and the only reason why he didn't get the title shot was because he's over there in the UK where they're experiencing issues with traveling right now due to their pandemic issues. So Jorge, he fucked himself big time. You know what I mean? And another thing that Ariel was saying from Jorge, why he was kind of like, oh, the damage is already done, was so he made 2 million off the Diaz pay per view, and the Diaz pay per view, sold like 900,000 or whatever like that. The Usman pay per view, we already know that's not going to bring the same amount of numbers because he doesn't have the same dance part like Diaz,
Right.
right
but he's still going to be making the same purse as he was fighting Diaz.
for
So
less work.
so
Less work in terms of promo, I would say.
right, and I feel like the reason why he really fucked himself there, he should have known, like, dude, you're not gonna sell the same amount of pay per views. You know that the UFC is not going to give you more than what they gave you for the Diaz thing. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of like he was getting 500,000 for Diaz, but then they were going to try to give him 200,000 for Usman. No, they're going to give you 500,000 for Usman, but because on the back end, it's not guaranteed you're going to make 2 million again. It doesn't mean you should turn down the fucking fight. That's stupid. That's
Exactly.
dumb.
And on top of it's a title fight.
Yeah,
So
title
if
fight.
like if you win it, like the common sense says, even like DC said, and with Ariel, he was saying how he had went to negotiate and they said no, and he was like, cool. He's like, I'll just prove myself and I'll get what I and then when I prove he's like, cool, we'll let this max we'll max it, this is my last fight on my contract and we'll negotiate after that. And sure enough, he said Fertitta was like, yo, listen, don't even worry about it. Deal's done. But in the same breath, he also realizes that the reality is if I become a champion, it's
They
hard
need
to
me.
not. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need me. You need me, one. And two, it's gonna be hard for you not to negotiate with me. And on top of it, you're gonna get buys. So let's say he beats Usman, right? He
yeah,
beats Usman, and then let's say if it's if it's a fight just like with Usman and Kobe, right?
right.
And it's but it's like even closer of a fight. Psh, you could run that back a second time,
Yes, sir.
and when you run it back the second time, you could negotiate your price then if you're not getting what you want, but you got what you wanted. Like like that's the crazy part. Like to some extent, this is ego. This reminds me of Latrice Sprewell when I forget what it was. What was they trying to give him, like $40 million or some shit like that? It was like some ridiculous number, and he told him, "Nah, that's not enough money. I got a lot of kids." And we never heard from Latrice Sprewell after that.
You
Like
know,
he faded to black after that.
my thing is, I think they will. I think there is a chance that Jorge Masvidal still gets a bigger fight, only because, like, at the end of the day, Jorge Masvidal can make them money. But as far as a deal after that, though, as far as everything said and done, especially if he loses the fight that they give him next, that next deal is going to be a little shaky.
But that's the
I,
thing. Well, I was just gonna say that's the thing though. Like if he gets the next fight, though, it would be bad. It would be good to put him in a big fight next, which will only be Usman, either Usman or the BMF rematch.
Or
Like,
Connor.
Or
eh,
Connor.
I don't, yeah, or Connor, but shit, even Connor, I don't think they would give him Connor because Connor's a huge payday for him. Connor would be a huge payday for him, but
Yeah, they would have to up the bag for the Connor fight.
yeah, and plus on top of it, right now, what Connor, even Connor has been talking out to the UFC, so it would just be hard for something like that to happen. It could happen, but I think Leon Edwards might be like the best bet in saying like, hey, since you want to fight, cool. Well, let's see. Let's if you can beat him, I'll give you a title shot, and let's
Yeah,
make it a hard fight. Because if it's a hard fight, it's gonna be hard to negotiate money if you have a close fight. If it's close enough of a fight and fans want to see a rematch, Dana might really try to stall it out, have Usman fight someone else. If
yep,
Usman was to fight someone else and it's a close fight with Leon Edwards, you could run that back and be like, well, Usman just had a fight, so you're not fighting him right now. He wants a title. When you have a title, that's what two or three fights a year.
Yep.
yeah. Man, so I had a homeboy who was saying about the Usman fight.
Right.
He was hoping that Burns would win, and the reason why he was hoping the whole diva situation that's going on at welterweight. If Burns wins, it's fucking over
Yeah.
because Burns is willing to fight anybody. Burns was even the first choice for the welterweight title
Yeah.
fight. He was like the third fucking choice. He's willing to fight anybody. He's even taking this fight with Usman on short notice. If you think about it, he just fought like what 2 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, against
Yeah,
Woodley.
yeah, and now like in 3 weeks he's fighting again. That for a title. That's crazy. If he wins,
Crazy.
if he beats Usman, all them fucking divas and shit at the welterweight, it's over. And I think, and I think that's probably the reason why Dana gave it to Burns because he's like, look, if this guy wins, I don't have to worry about fighter pay complaints. I don't got to worry about no, I'm not fighting him, I'm not fighting that.
Yeah.
I think Dana's over that shit, man.
And I think Burns will probably act like you said. Burns will probably take it to the back to the old days where it's just like who no, I'm not fighting no big fight. I'm not fighting no money grabber. I want to fight who's number one. Who's the next
Right?
contender?
Yeah, yeah. And I like Usman. I think Usman's a good fighter. But part of me wants to root for Burns just for that reason, bro. I'm so sick and tired of these fucking champions like Habib and Usman fighting once a year. I'm tired of that, man. I'm so tired of that shit. It's
I can
annoying.
understand. I get it. I mean, I'm gonna go for. I'm always gonna go with Usman
Yeah,
just because of who he is and
yeah,
like just his. Because I definitely like he's Nigerian at that. So it's like I'm rooting for him, but at the same time, if he loses that belt, we saw it. Like I always said, once Tyron Woodley lost, he was never fighting for the belt again. I always said that because he was a crybaby
yeah,
and he never fought for the belt again. He never fought for the belt again. And I think with even Usman, if he with all like the little drama show shit, like Dana might mess around and say, all right, cool, Burns got the belt. We're gonna give him, let's say Leon Edwards beats Masvidal. All right, cool, we're gonna let you fight Edwards next. Since y'all like to beat divas, I'm gonna let Usman and Masvidal fight, and it's just an undercard fight.
yeah.
I think only like two or three people are going to get the money they're looking for, and that's Connor, first and foremost. Connor's going to get the money. It just depends on who he's fighting.
Right.
John
Yeah.
Jones
Gotta
might
be careful
John
with
Jones will
Connor
probably get
though.
the money. Yeah, you got to be careful with Connor, but they're going to give him the money. John Jones will probably get the money because at the end of the day, he's the best of all time. And then possibly Henry Cejudo. Other than that, nobody is going to get the money they're asking for. And that Henry Cejudo is like maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a
I
close one.
I disagree about Henry. I think Henry, if he ever is going to make money for fighting, is going to be in that boxing match with Ryan Garcia. He is not going to make whatever. I'm not saying he doesn't make good money now, but he probably won't make any more than what he's making now, unless he comes back and kills the competition. But he said he's retired.
I know you say he wanted to go up to 45 next.
Yeah, to
So
fight Volkanovski.
yeah, but even then, like the reality is, though it would be a beautiful thing to see, I think for Dana, he also realizes he doesn't need that because that's someone that's going to clog. That if he has three belts, he's going to clog up. He's going to mess up the whole thing for the UFC.
Yeah.
He's going to have three divisions clogged up, and two are actually really good divisions.
Yeah.
35 and 45, they're really great divisions. So he's going to clog those up and have 25 clogged up. And then if he pulls a stunt and say, "Oh, I think I might retire," like just like Amanda Nunes is saying now,
Yeah.
like if he decides to say, "Oh, I'm gonna just retire," what? What do you mean you're gonna retire? Like I have three belt, I have three belts. I gotta have three people fight for these belts. Like, nah, fuck that.
No, I see what you're saying. It's just, and like I said, it's a strong maybe with Henry. Like, I just I don't see him really being the one to get the bag at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's hard to see it. It's hard for me to see that. It's really hard for me to see that. But I know I don't know if you guys are ready to wrap this thing up.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get up out of here, I do want to say this, and we'll talk more about it next week. Wale got an album coming out Friday night. Can't wait to hear that because I'm very curious to see. This may be the climate that he can actually reemerge his career in, just because of social awareness and social consciousness. But I think we'll have to listen to the album to see where that's gonna go. Yeah, that's really it. That's the one thing I really want to see, and I want to actually see more about. I need to look more into this whole Lecrae thing and this white blessing from slavery thing.
Oh God.
Like, yeah, I got to look more into that because it's a very interesting thing. But just look, if anybody's listening, just look up the Lecrae and blessings. Just type in Lecrae and white blessings. It's a very interesting interview. So, but other than that, listen, just follow the podcast on Instagram, Highly Advised Podcast, or check it out on Twitter, check it out on Twitter at Advised Highly. Yeah, and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. We're on all platforms, so just stream it, run the numbers up, and hopefully we can give you a live show soon or something.
Yes, sir. With that
T-
being said, Nigel, any last words?
I don't have any last words. If you're playing The Last of Us, or if you're playing The Last of Us 2, let me know. Let me know what you think. Don't spoil shit. Though I'll be pissed off.
With that being said, you have been highly advised.
Jesus, man.